forward. What, therefore, are the takeaways?
The takeaway is that we've just underscored our commitment to the historic agreement that was happened in Paris. We've signed the Paris Agreement now. It includes a commitment to our NDC, and then we will hope to ratify at COP22 in Morocco.
This is intended that when Mr. President finally returns and these treaties are forwarded or conventions, it becomes necessary forwarded to the legislature, it will be easier to paddle them through, the legislators having been part of the ceremony.
As a nation, we are fully and totally committed towards combating the devastating effects of climate change, and by so doing benefit from the immense opportunities that abound.
Diaspora can be a major part of the solution to whatever challenges we're going through at this point in time. And President Buhari has instructed that we ensure that we achieve success with our brothers and sisters in the diaspora.
In New York, Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
Nigeria's 56th independence anniversary kicked off with an interdenominational church service held at the National Christian Center in Abuja. Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, on the occasion, urges Nigerians to remain positive that the country has brighter days ahead with the Buhari's administration. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
To continue in its efforts at finding solutions to the challenges.
With full assurance of faith that tomorrow will be glorious for this nation in the mighty name of Jesus.
The interdenominational church service was attended by some serving and past leaders of the country. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Fighting insurgency now, troops of the Nigerian army have repelled an attack by some suspected remnants of Boko Haram fighters who attacked them at Lugumani along Dikwa, Gambaro Road, Borno State. Acting Director Army Public Relations, Colonel Sandy Kukasheka Utsman, in a statement, says the troops fought gallantly and repelled the attack, which lasted for about an hour. At the end of the fierce encounter, 22 Boko Haram fighters were killed while 4 soldiers died. 2 other soldiers were wounded in action and were immediately evacuated for further medical management. The troops recovered rifles and some hand grenades. The location has been reinforced and replenished while the troops have continued their clearance operations. In a related development, troops of Operation Lafia Dole on administration patrol from Maiduguri encountered improvised explosive devices in ambush between Meyanti and Dareliama, Borno State. The ambush was cleared and 3 Boko Haram terrorists were killed and guns and ammunition recovered. An officer and 3 soldiers were killed while 16 soldiers and 3 civilian JTF members sustained injuries. The wounded have since been evacuated and are in stable condition. Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Odumu, says there's no going back on the ministry's commitment to supporting the government's policy. The minister said this in a message to the flag-off of the 2nd Graduates Youth Empowerment Scheme in Abeokuta, Ogun State capital. Musbah Udan Wahab filed the report.
Public-private partnership agreement with Songhai Integrated Farms barely 4 months ago, the goal is being pursued vigorously. The objective is to reposition and strengthen the River Basin Development Authorities, RBDAs, to become major economic nerve centers to support the economic diversification policy of the government. Part of the agreement is to empower about 1,200 graduates across the country through the Graduate Youth Empowerment Scheme. After the inaugural flag-off in Kogi State, Water Resources Ministry continues the series with the flag-off of a 2nd scheme in Ogun State under the Ogun River Basin Development Authority. The selected graduates will be trained in fishery, poultry and crops production.
The beneficiaries will subsequently be empowered through other government intervention programs to establish their own agri-ventures or become trainers in their own right, thereby creating a multiplier effect to further sustain the objectives of the program with the attendant positive impact on the economy through improved food production and employment generation.
According to the ministry, the farm scheme, which will be spread across the country, would help to enhance the capacity of the RBDAs to complement rural infrastructure and advance agricultural support services. In Abuja, Musbal and Wahab, NTA News.
Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Oboneonu, has described welding engineering as critical and an integral part of science, technology and innovation required in the manufacturing and construction sectors. This was at a meeting with leaders of Nigerian Institute of Welding who called on him for support in their mission to introduce welding engineering in Nigeria's universities and polytechnics. Dr. Ono emphasizes that Nigeria needs to grow the capacity of welders to enable them have the capability to engage in high-tech welding practice.
Buhari has promised our great nation that he will strengthen the economy, that he will help create jobs, and it's our responsibility in the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology to support him. So we will support, we will work with, we will collaborate with the Nigerian Institute of Welders. I commended them for the work they have done for the nation, and we will do everything that is necessary to make sure that we now build the capacity to have enough welders.
President of Nigeria Institute of Welding, Dr. Solomon Edebiri, told the minister that the institute is not relenting in its efforts towards enhancing the profession in Nigeria.
Since we started our capacity building process, over 10 universities and polytechnics have been able to include welding in their activities in Nigeria. Before our advent, there was no higher institution that was involved in any welding activity.
Science correspondent Kirian Umayo reports that the Nigeria Institute of Welding, which was established in 1980, is affiliated to International Welding Organization. Financial analysts say there is need for proper and coordinated synergy between the fiscal and monetary policies to review the current interest rate to achieve the desired economic growth. This was a unanimous view of guests on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria as they discussed solutions to the current high lending rate. Salihu Abdullahi has a report. Sorry for loss of audio in that report. Moving on now. Nigeria will bring into reality the achievement of universal primary education by 2030. Minister of Education Malam Adamu stated this at the Stakeholders Forum on the implementation of 2030 Education Agenda and the inauguration of Global Education Monitoring Report 2016. Abdullahi Musa Shehu has details.
Global Education Monitoring Report 2016, titled Education for People and Planet, Creating Sustainable Future for All, is born out of the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). Malam Adam enjoined all partners to ensure that agreements reached at the forum as next steps are effectively and efficiently implemented.
We are not unaware of the challenges that will be encountered, but with the cooperation of all stakeholders, the ministry and the country is equal to the task.
Compiled by UNESCO, this goal is in tandem with the Federal Ministry of Education's strategic plan captioned Education for Change, a ministerial strategic plan 2016 to 2019.
What the Global Education Monitoring Report 2016 tries to do is to look at each of the targets and the respective indicators, and where possible to try to determine baselines for monitoring that we are initiating from now until 2030.
Towards 2030, a new vision for education is to transform lives through education with a commitment to a holistic, ambitious and aspirational one that ensures inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Yeah, that report was actually from Abdullahi Musa Suleja. Well, it's now time to join Enugu, where Chegonu is standing by to bring us reports from that center. Hello, Chegonu. Take it away.
Good afternoon, Ogechi, and welcome to Enugu. Motorists have decried the deplorable state of Enugu-Onitsha Old Road. James Operekocha was on that road and filed in this report.
From Enugu to Onitsha via Oka in Anambra State become a nightmare for both motorists and commuters. Journey of less than 2 hours on a good road now takes motorists and passengers over 6 hours to reach Onitsha from Enugu. Aside the loss of hours, damaged vehicles is enormous. The worst side being the Ugoba axis in the Oji River, the government area of Enugu State.
We're using this opportunity, therefore, to call on the Federal Minister of Works and the Federal Minister of Works and Housing to please do something to make sure that the express road and our roads in the southeast becomes passable as soon as possible.
Motorists have resorted to diverting to some other from B and C roads across communities, resulting in traffic holdup on such roads as well as the destruction of such state roads.
Here, on top of a tanker in Oji River local government area of Enugu State, I am James Oparekocha.
The people of Amozam Enugu community in Enugu North local government area have raised alarm over the devastating gully erosion in the area. Amaka Uwo visited the erosion site and now tells us more.
These are women from Amuzam Enugu expressing dismay over the gully erosion that is ravaging their community. Narrating their ordeal, natives of Amuzam Enugu, including Mr. Anthony Woji, whose house is on the verge of collapse, lamented that despite efforts made by individuals over the years to curb the devastating effects of the erosion has caused the collapse of many houses, poultry farms, and several structures in the area.
New map came and told us that World Bank has given contract to amend the erosion. But eventually they said that the state government could not pay the counterpart fund.
We have 19 erosion sites in Enugu State. The government has just approved a systematic payment of a counterpart fund on a monthly basis.
Officials from the state government who visited the erosion site refuted claims that the state was unable to pay counterpart fund to the Nigerian Environmental and Watershed Management Project, NEWMAP, which the people attributed to the delay of the project.
The thing is getting out of hand, and the stage we find ourselves now is beyond what even the state government could handle.
While the people of the area continue to make efforts towards protecting their houses, the state government has appealed to residents to desist from building along the waterways as a measure towards preventing erosion in the state. In Enugu, Amaka O, NTA News.
Wife of the Enugu State Governor, Mrs. Manika Ugwanyi, has awarded scholarships to 102 indigent children through her pet project. Ijoma Ugweke tells us more.
102 scholarship, which is one of the projects under the pet project of the wife of the governor, is designed to assist indigent children in the state to acquire the basic education. Under the project is the provision of educational materials such as sandals, school uniforms, books, and health insurance.
From primary 1 to JSS 3, basic education, which is a child's right.
Mrs. Ugwai urged women to be steadfast in prayers and ensure proper upbringing of their children to prevent acts of criminality. The launch of the project drew women from the 17 council areas, ministers of God, and political leaders, including Secretary to the State Government, Elder Gabriel Aja. In Enugu, Ijomu Gweke, NTA News.
Well, that scholarship report rounds it up from Enugu here. Over now to you, Ogechi, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you too. And to some politics now, the countdown to Edo governorship race has begun. 19 standard bearers and their deputies from 19 political parties that fielded candidates to control the heart of Edo State will slug it out on Wednesday 28th of September 2016. Ifanyo Kafo reports that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it is committed to ensure a conducive exercise.
The inland state of Edo, South Nigeria, is at the center of attention, locally and internationally, as political activities heightened barely 2 days to the governorship election. The Independent National Electoral Commission, having put behind the issues leading to the postponement of the earlier date for the election, says it is now even better positioned to conduct a free, fair and credible exercise.
So we had to do reverse logistics, bring back certain materials, bring back materials from the field to the local government offices, and then other materials like the card reader to the state office to be reconfigured.
Sensitive and non-sensitive materials deployed for the elections have been safely deposited in the 18 local government areas of the state for onward distribution to the wards and voting points across the state. Expectations of registered voters and other observers are for the major contenders to the election to play by the rules and avoid acts that could create political tension amongst the citizenry.
INEC must organize and hold an election where the people will vote and where the vote will count. Where the slogan of one man, one vote, one woman, one vote, one youth, one vote must count.
I want to urge the indigenes of that state to make sure that conducive environment is created. The issue of ballot box snatching, stuffing, thuggery, with the introduction of our new card readers, have reduced tremendously.
My expectation about the Edo election to be successful and peaceful.
With a population of about 4 million people, Edo State was created in 1991 with its capital in Benin City. The state has a voting population of 1.4 million people. In Abuja, Ifanyo Kafo, NTA News.
Still on the forthcoming Edo elections, the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has deployed 25,000 regular policemen to beef up security for free and fair governorship elections in that state. A statement by the Force Public Relations Officer and Deputy Commissioner of Police, Don Awuna, says the number is in addition to the tactical teams drawn from the Mobile Force, Counter-Terrorism, Special Protection Unit, Explosive Ordnance Disposal, Air Wing and Marine Unit. The statement adds that restriction of vehicular movement starts from midnight, Tuesday to 27th, to 6 o'clock in the evening of Wednesday. It enjoins the people of Edo State to be law-abiding and peaceful, as security agents have been directed to be decisive in dealing with any infractions of the law. Well, it's time to join. Let's hear the story on the Plateau State government as it takes its service to mark the 56th Independence Anniversary celebration. Details with Shehu in our Just Network Center. Hello, Shehu.
Thank you, Ogechi. Welcome to Jos. For Nigeria to move from its current economic status, citizens must have a change of attitude and remain prayerful. This was Governor Simon Lalong's message at an interdenominational service to mark Nigeria's 56th Independence Day celebration held at the headquarters of the Living Faith Church, Jos. Paul Dama reports.
The service had in attendance top government functionaries, members of the legislature and judiciary, caretaker committee chairman, and some members of the State Security Council. Governor Lalong, who was represented by the Commissioner for Water Resources and Energy, said Nigerians need to act differently and pray fervently for the prosperity of the land. He urged the people to support government officials and also desist from vandalizing public infrastructure.
That we should pray for the country or for the nation of our captivity. That instruction was given to the children of Israel when they were in captivity in a land that was not their own. In fact, they were being treated as slaves at that time. But they were asked to pray for that land. Why? Because it's in the prosperity of that land that they will also have their own prosperity. It is in the prosperity of Nigeria, it is in the prosperity of Plateau State that we will have our prosperity.
The commissioner also led the congregation in prayers for the state, the nation and its leaders. Resident pastor of the Living Faith Church, Pastor Jeremiah Abraham, in a sermon said the bedrock of Christianity is love. Therefore, Christians must love and remain united and ultimately pray for peace. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
In their continued quest for lasting peace in Plateau State, stakeholders and peace advocates have stressed that meaningful development can only be achieved by strengthening the ideals of peace. The stakeholders held a forum in commemoration of this year's International Day of Peace with the theme Sustainable Development Goals, Building Blocks for Peace.
This forum, organized by the Plateau State Peace Building Agency, was in 2 sessions, with the first X-raying causes of conflicts and ways of dissipating and eliminating them, while the second session highlighted successes, lessons and challenges of sustaining peace in the state. State Deputy Governor Professor Sonny Tioden, represented by the Commissioner for Lands and Survey Festus Fuanter, said the establishment of the Peace Building Agency is a clear demonstration of government's desire to meet the yearnings and aspirations of citizens for peace, justice and equity.
We will not spare anything as a government to continue to provide the enabling environment for a peaceful coexistence in this state. And for us to have peace, we must be able to fight for peace along with our enemies so that we turn our enemies into our partners.
Director General Plateau Peace Building Agency, Mr. Joseph Lengman, noted that peace reinforces the conditions for sustainable growth and development and liberates the resources needed for societies to develop and prosper.
In a newly developed framework, governments are urged to pursue and achieve the 17 Sustainable Development Goals in 15 years. The end goal is to attack poverty, protect our environment, as well as ensure social and economic prosperity for all nations.
Director General Sustainable Development Goals, Plateau State, Mr. Sam Damla, said the SDGs are integral to achieving peace, as development and peace are interdependent. In a keynote address, senior advisor Search for Common Grounds, Chombagu, urged citizens to stop being mere tolerant of each other and accept one another, adding that dialogue is critical in ensuring lasting peace. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
The National Orientation Agency in Plateau State is to begin a statewide sensitization on value reorientation and security awareness in schools. Correspondent Rinret Lot reports that NOA State Director Mr. Bulus Dabit disclosed this during a parley with newsmen in Jos.
Mr. Dabit said in view of the importance of security and the vulnerability of school children, sensitizing them on how to respond under different security situations is of great importance.
The purpose of this is to ensure that every person that is in the school system, including the children, are enlisted into the security awareness campaign. Every one of them should be seen as an eye of security agencies, including the young ones, because they are in the schools, their eyes are open, they see what is happening, they must be taught.
The security consultant, Pastor Dominion, and a representative from the private school proprietors said the sensitization is timely.
Security actually requires a proactive, a proactive measure of response. That's why we feel to be proactive, we need to take this down to the grassroots.
This initiative, which is to complement the duty of security agencies, is part of the Change Begins With Me campaign. In Jos, Rinret Lot, NTA News.
Shehu, you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. You're watching nationwide on NTA Network Service. We now pause for some messages. The news continues after the break. Stay with us.
When has it reached this? Much less this. And this. And this. And this. help reclaim our Commonwealth. Lend your support to the fight against corruption for a better Nigeria.
Nigeria at 56, the games, challenges and prospects in focus. This week on NTA Tuesday Live, as analysts x-ray the journey so far and the way for changes for the better. NTA Tuesday Live, incisive, educative and informative. Join us.
Finally, the masquerade has been unveiled.
As a former two-time governor of Edo State, I said it before that the next governor will also come from this family. Our brother, our son, Osage Izeyamu. And I want to assure you that come the 28th, we can come and celebrate tomorrow.
Next year will be greater. Amen. Amen. It will be the state that will be hosting the birthday.
You heard him. Osage Izeyamu to make Esama's birthday an Edo State event from next year. Who knows? He could even declare it a public holiday. Edo people, treasury looters must not be allowed to return to power. We are wiser now. This message is courtesy Edo professionals.
Don't go there. Professor is not around.
Now your father asked me this.
Don't be silly.
Don't be quack. I was talking. I just say, Prof, they find fair, fine girl. Now I say, make I bring this my Rihanna.
I was not so yellow girl. I was so yellow face and black body.
This week on your award-winning comedy series, Professor John Bull, starring Kanayo Okanayo, Mercy Johnson, Queen Wokoye, Funky Malam, Oguz Baba, Ime Bishop, Yomi Fash Lanso, MC For God, Stephen Odingwe.
I almost pretend you're here. We are not eating pepper meat.
Medoya, smile! Hey! Olari, smile!
Professor John Bull, fasten your seatbelts this Tuesday and Friday, 8:30 to 9 p.m. on NTA Network, International, and Star Times. It's absolutely bombastic.
Over and out.
The largest data network, Glow, Grandmasters of Data. The National Council on Finance and Economic Development, NACOFED 2016, will be holding its annual conference in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Finance. Theme of the conference is enhancing revenue generation and obtaining best value for money in expenditure. Participants: all state commissioners of finance, all state accountants general, all state permanent secretaries of finance ministries, all state commissioners of budget and planning, all state chairman board of internal revenue, all state permanent secretaries, budget, and all other finance stakeholders. Goodwill message by former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo GCFR. Keynote address by His Excellency Senator Ibikunle Amosun, CON FCA Executive Governor of Ogun State. Welcome address by Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, Honorable Minister of Finance. Date 27 to 28 September 2016. Venue Green Legacy Resort, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Time 8 a.m. daily. Announcer local organizer.
We're glad to know you're still watching. Adamawa State Governor Bido Umar Jibrila says the people of Mubi, one of the worst hit towns by Boko Haram, will forever be grateful to President Muhammadu Buhari for the restoration of peace in the northeast Nigeria. The governor said this at the launch of a program designed to complement government's efforts towards rapid healing, socio-economic reconstruction, and development of the region. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
It is a known fact that before the taking over of power by the present administration, it was absolutely impossible for the people of Mubi to converge at the Emir's Palace for any activity.
We must appreciate Muhammadu Buhari, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now we know we have conventional military that came through our President, through the commitment of our President to the Boko Haram is almost becoming a history.
Some of the indigents who spoke with NTA News say the restoration of peace to the region was as a result of the political will of President Muhammadu Buhari to end insurgency in the northeastern region of the country.
It has not been easy for us, but when he came in, both the tactics and the strategy changed. It was made possible for them to overpower the Boko Haram, and peace has returned to Mubi. That is why we are today happily in Mubi and making celebrations.
Muhammad Buhari, when he came in, carried on the fight of dismantling the Boko Haram people. And then besides that, he also sent in massive assistance to the affected areas.
The federal government has continued to intensify efforts through the presidential initiative for the Northeast towards the rebuilding of the region. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Want to join Kaduna there now, where operatives of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps have apprehended suspected cattle rustlers. Details from our Kaduna Network Center with Zuley as our guide. Hello.
Thanks for joining us in Kaduna. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says the Army will continue to provide a conducive environment for officers and soldiers.
Well, we don't seem to have audio from that center. We hope to go back when audio improves. The executives of the Police Officers' Wives Association, POWA, has solicited the support of the IGP, Ibrahim Idris, towards enhancing the program of the association. Mohammed Kolo reports that they made the request during a visit to felicitate with him on his appointment.
Even as we are here to congratulate you, sir, we are also here to commend you. Though in less than 3 months of your assumption of office, you have made significant achievements in piloting the affairs of the force.
The POWA president, Asma'u Ibrahim Idris, identified the areas they need support to include healthcare, education, skills acquisition, especially for widows of fallen officers and men, and the reactivation of barracks inspection to promote discipline and hygiene.
I want to obviously respond to some of the issues my wife stated, which obviously are very laudable. Thank you very much. Those are very laudable projects, especially the issue of schools. Schools are very important in the development of our children, and I promise whatever assistance we can provide to you, we are going to do that.
Awards for loyalty, commitment, and dedication were presented to officers and their wives.
In the past, at events like this, issues were tabled. But of course, the more we talk about our issues and problems, the closer we're likely going to get to addressing them, which underscores the importance of today's visit on the IGP by the management of POWA, Police Officers' Wives Association. From the force headquarters here in Abuja, Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
Well, let's return to Kaduna Network Center, where Zule will bring us reports on the arrest of suspected cattle rustlers there. Hello, Zule.
Thank you, Ogechi, and welcome once again to Kaduna. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says the Army will continue to provide a conducive environment for officers and soldiers to discharge their professional responsibilities efficiently. He stated this at the inauguration of renovated Young Officers and Commanding Officers' Quarters in Jaji, Kaduna. Muhammad Lawal Baba reports.
Represented by Chief of Logistics, Major General Pat Ekin, the Chief of Army Staff said he has embarked on systematic and deliberate renovation, rehabilitation, and upgrading of facilities to attain acceptable international standard.
It became imperative to emplace critical assets and facilities for officers and soldiers to use to attain the key pillars of the vision.
Lieutenant General Buratai equally said training will continue in all Nigerian Army schools across the country and other foreign countries to tap into experiences of other armies around the world.
The idea is to continue to build the capacity, that will soon translate into bringing the insurgency in the northeast to a complete halt, and indeed to also tackle other security challenges plaguing the nation.
Major General Pat Akem later inspected renovation and upgrading of Infantry Corps Center headquarters going on in Jaji. In Kaduna, Muhammad Lawal Baba, NTA News.
Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Jigawa State Command, has apprehended 2 suspects for alleged cattle rustling and extortion of money in Jigawa Nasaru village of Birnin-Kudu local government area. Habibu Hussaini reports that the suspects were paraded at the command's headquarters in Dutse.
The command had on 23rd July 2016 received a complaint from one Isiaku Hamza of Jigawar Nasaru of Birnin-Kudu local government area relating to a threat from unidentified caller who requested the sum of 2 million naira. The suspects allegedly attacked the victim in his house, extorted the sum of over 500,000 naira and wounded him through gunshot. The Public Relations Officer, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, DSC Abdullahi Adamu Shehu, speaks on the case.
Luck ran out of him when, on the eve of Salah, at Kiako village, we were able to arrest him. And at the time of the arrest, he was in possession of a stolen cow, which he has confessed to have stolen from a grazing ground in Taguda village, in Birnin-Kudu also.
He said the command is conducting a thorough investigation, after which the suspects would be handed over to the appropriate authority. From Dutse, Habib Hussein, NTA News.
Dozens of families have fled their homes and many living in fear, owing to incessant armed robbery attacks on some communities in Berdungwari local government area of Kaduna State. To curtail the menace, the Emir of Berdungwari, Zubairu Jibril Megwari II, has appealed for the establishment of a military formation in the area. Muhammad Umar Ajingi has the details.
It is no longer news that armed banditry in Berdungwari town and environs is a common phenomenon. Within the last 1 week, for instance, not fewer than 7 armed robbery incidences have been reported either along Kaduna-Berdungwari Lagos Road or Berdungwari itself. Zubairu Jibril Megwari II is the Emir of Berdungwari.
We need a special detachment, a permanent detachment of a unit of the army and an area commander for the police to be stationed in Berdungwari, because Berdungwari borders about 4 or 5 states.
A visit to Jibril Megwari General Hospital, where the victims of the attack were taken, shows that the 2 of the victims have been referred to Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital and Baroduko Teaching Hospital respectively for further medical checks. The Emir has this appeal to people in the Emirate as well as the government.
So please, our people should be very careful, and they should also inform us about movement of any bad elements.
In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
The need for Nigerians to obey traffic rules and regulations, as well as assisting those involved in road accidents, was the focus of a stakeholders forum on road safety organized by QAPDAS, a road safety demand non-governmental organization in Kaduna. Tina Toro has the details.
QAPDAS Road Safety Demand engages in activities that sensitize people to adopt a humane attitude to the needs of those involved in road mishap. The forum, tagged Tackling Road Traffic Rules Violation in Nigeria, brought to attention the need for Nigerians to drive responsibly to save lives.
Sometimes why people don't stop to help, because when they take injured persons to the hospitals are reluctant because they don't want to get involved with the police and so.
Stakeholders emphasized that beyond reduction in accident rates, there should be focus on saving lives when accidents occur.
When you say we've lost 100,000 people, because you can't relate to the individuals concerned, you'll be thinking that these 100,000 people, oh, we are making statistical improvement.
Though there are sufficient laws to deal with traffic issues, what remains now is for enforcement to be more effective.
The Federal Road Safety Corps is urging Nigerians to continue to obey traffic rules and regulations, as well as be receptive to the speed limit device aimed at tackling overspeeding.
1st October this year, implementation of speed limiter device is going to come in effect. It is not intended to cause any additional hardship to anybody. It is intended to safeguard, protect, and promote road transportation business in Nigeria.
Highlight of the event was the presentation of certificates to winners of a quiz and essay competition organized for corps members across the country. In Kaduna, Tina Toro, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to Ogechi in Abuja for more Nationwide. Good evening.
Thank you, Zulay. Moving on now. Every 25th of September is World Pharmacists Day. The day is used by members of the Pharmaceutical Federation around the globe to highlight the impact and added value of the pharmacy profession and its role in improving health. In this report, health correspondent Rabi Abdullah takes a look at issues revolving around orthodox and herbal medicines in Nigeria.
Pharmacists are the men and women who supervise the production, preparation and assessment of quality of medicine from pharmaceutical companies. This is in addition to their role of dispensing medications prescribed by physicians. A peep into the country's pharmaceutical subsector reveals a lot of challenges.
The issue of even the antimicrobial resistance, some of the industries, when you go to their warehouses where they used to have a lot of raw materials, it's so pathetic. That's an insight. So many of them, they have applied to many banks to source products for the raw materials, but they cannot get it.
Nigeria is one country in the world that is richly blessed with arable lands where numerous medicinal species of plants grow.
We are not tapping into the immense natural resources as to nutraceutical, herbal, alternative medicine that we have locally, especially those ones that have gone through due process.
The political will has to be put in place. Formulated policy that will aid the market. We also need to improve our interaction with the pharmaceutical industries for us to know what are the needs.
If we can be supported, the whole West African coast, even Africa, Nigeria will be a hub as far as pharmaceutical sector is concerned.
Security of medicines entails that people at all times have access to sufficient, safe and affordable medicine for their health needs. In Abuja, Rabi Abdullah, NTA News.
The Writers' Forum in Abuja has joined the League of other organizations to champion the reawakening of the reading culture among Nigerians. Towards this end, the forum has set aside Saturday of every month to interact with guest writers and the public to sustain this reading culture. Ilyasu Ali Yakub covered one of the writers' sessions.
The guest writers session avails the general public the opportunity to interface with the writers towards attracting more writers, as well as rekindle the spirit of the reading culture among Nigerians. Apart from this, a poet, Basiru Sunday, also thrilled the participants to some poetry on current happenings in the country.
That our refinery's light will shine so bright, all in the life of a nation's drive. And we go back to innocence, taking our place as Africa's pride, where corruption is given a fatal blow, and the criteria for me being your friend has nothing to do with my tribe.
President Abuja Writers Forum Imam Usman Shehu said they will not relent until the lost glory of reading is rekindled.
Encourage an interaction between writers and the public. People write and their books are published, and most Nigerians don't know that the books are published.
When it comes to the creative arts, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, you really have to work very, very hard to make sure that you're continuing to keep doing your best.
It has really been challenging, especially if you produce a work and you feel you've done your best and then you send it out and it comes back rejected.
Musicians were also on hand to thrill guests. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakub, NTA News.
Well, let's take another commercial break. The bulletin continues. Stay with us.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Talking sports now, Team Nigeria wins the 2016 Africa Under-18 tennis circuit in Togo as world number 3.